Okay guys, welcome back to Our World Outdoors. So today we're going to be doing the long-term review of the 3FUL Poncho Tarps. Now 3FUL gear has created these in two different form factors. Basically they're the same size, but one's a 210T and one's a 15D. Basically the differences are weight and thickness of material. That said, right off the bat, I think the 210T is worth the extra weight. I live in Ohio. There's a lot of multiflora and sticker bushes and stuff that encroach on the trails. You're getting snagged on stuff sometimes. I'd rather have the heavier duty material. Also, we can get into some pretty windy areas, and when I'm using this for shelter, I feel more comfortable with it. That said, I still think the 15D is a great product. I think it still worked just as good. Just for my personal, to have confidence in the product, I feel better with a thicker material for the little bit of weight differential. That said, if I was out doing like the PCT or out west, where the trails are a little more open, or you're more in a sand environment, I guess, I would probably go more for this one, the 15D, and have a lighter product. Now, with ponchos, I have to say, like I talked about earlier, they do sometimes get snagged on stuff, but surprisingly, we haven't had a lot of issues with that, especially with the belt, the integrated belt system now, where you can strap it down against your waist so it doesn't really blow out and catch on stuff. Now, when we bought these, we figured we'd be using them a lot more than we do. And what we have found is we're using them more for shelter and ground cover than we are for their actual poncho purposes. So, wearing them in the rain is actually comfortable because the wind blows through them just because of the way they're cut. They cover everything that needs to be covered. Obviously, your feet are going to get wet, but pretty much everything else stays dry. I haven't had much problem with like my sides getting wet, especially with the belt on the 210T. I just close it up and it pretty much closes me in. Now, the issue I do have with it, like I said, is you get caught on stuff. Now, it covers my pack quite well, which granted I have a 3FUL pack and it's the X pack, so it really doesn't leak, but this is a nice secondary thing to have. So, as a poncho, I think it works. I think it's way better than some of your cheaper or heavier ponchos that are on the market. Some people are more into rain jackets, but where I think these really shine is as a temporary emergency shelter, or, I actually, if you guys haven't seen the video, did an overnight using this as my shelter in the winter. Now, granted, at 6 foot tall, this was all it could do to cover me. And there probably is better ways to set it up, but I was looking for the most minimal, close to the ground shelter as possible in order to try and keep some of my warmth in. I think that there's a lot of uses for these as shelter-wise, though. I slept under the tarp and I enjoyed it, but I don't think it would work for everyone. Now, if you included a bug bivvy with this in the summer, this would probably work as a good minimalist shelter. It also would work well, like I showed you guys in previous videos, in various different configurations as a temporary shelter, whether to sit under to block sun. If you were out in the mountains or out in, like, say, Colorado, and you needed something you could throw up as a quick shelter during, like, rainstorms or light hailstorms, just to kind of protect your head, this could take the beating. Or if you just wanted to kind of pull it over two people during a heavy downpour, just to try and keep some of the water off of you, definitely a good option. But when we did the videos on these, each one, we showed you how different configurations could work to use these as, say, a covering for a hammock. A very minimalist, say, to keep condensation from falling on your head while you're trying to sleep in the mornings. I really think these would be an awesome way to lighten up, and I plan on doing some videos with our new Trailhead hammocks using these as a very minimalist tarp over top of them just for that reason, just to keep the condensation off, you know, maybe block a little bit of wind if it's pulled down tight enough. A lot of different options to try, and I can't wait to try some of them. Now, the cost wise on these especially when you're ordering them direct from AliExpress, is so low. I mean, you can't even go buy Frog Togs for what we paid for these. A Frog Togs Poncho Tarp costs more than these. And look at the form factor, and look how small they are and how light they are. Now, I do have links down in the description box below where you can buy these under a different name off of AliExpress, off of Amazon, I'm sorry. But if you want to go to AliExpress, you can get them much cheaper. But the Amazon links below may have a different name, but they are the same Poncho Tarps. I don't know that these will work very well in a hammock when it's raining, just because I don't think they have enough coverage and the way they're cut. But I do want in the future add some strapping or tie outs to these and be able to do a ridge line and hang from it, if that makes sense. So your ridge line would be above it rather than under it, like we showed you in all the other videos. We strung the ridge line and put it over it. I'd like to be able to add some tie outs to these down the middle and be able to either pull them out and away or hang them from a ridge line from underneath. I think that would make these much more usable. But I got lots of ideas for these. And we also have figured out a way to use one of these with the Lanshan 2 to improve getting in and out of it in snow and rain. So be on the lookout for that video because it's coming. But I really cannot find a product that beats these for the money. I really can't. I think this is a good investment for anyone. And for all of you 3F UL gear enthusiasts like us, you'll know the value of these products at a low cost. I mean, this is basically the same materials that are being used in a lot of our other products we buy, like our Lanshan 2s. So if you're asking me, are these worth the money? Without a doubt, I think they are. Are they worth the weight in your pack? Well, that's going to be up to you. But for me, there's a lot of trips where I just drop these in. I may not use them, but if I get into a bunch of mud at camp, I can lay this down and use this ground cloth, bring it back, hang it up on a line outside, let it get rained on, and it'll clean the mud right off of it. And then I just put it away. Having these, though, during the rainy season in the spring or late fall when you get them pop-up storms is just good insurance, good peace of mind. And I'd encourage you to go back and watch each individual video we have on these. I'll link them in the description box for quick access, and go check out the videos on these. Each one kind of has its own weight limit, you know, it has its own size, has belts. Go check them out individually. See if these will work for you. And I know this video has been a long time coming, and a lot of my guys in 3F UL Gear Group have been asking for it. I apologize for taking so far, but I wanted to get out there and test them out good. I wanted to be out there in the pouring down rain wearing them. I wanted to be able to give you an honest review on how they hold up long term. Now, the final thing I'm going to say is, I've done it twice and I've found there's no need for it. But for some of you that are more concerned about your Lanshans and your floors, you can put these, fold these up and put these under as a ground cloth. Alright? There is no moisture seep through on these. I've been soaked in these, and it does not seep through the material. So they are sealed up well, and it will work great underneath your tent. If you've got the Pro 1 like Missy has, you can fold these up 3 times over and it makes the perfect size ground sheet. You can fold it in half and then roll one of the edges in, or leave one of the edges out front, and then you can have the perfect Lanshan 2 ground sheet to put under it. But make sure you're watching, because like I said, we figured out something to do with this with the Lanshans that's going to be real nice come winter or during your rain season when you want to get in and out of your Lanshan without getting soaked. So, we appreciate you watching. You know we appreciate all of you coming and checking out our gear and backpacking videos. So if you haven't already, join the family, go hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you up the trail.